Alright everyone, this is a story that ties into the Antifa far-left commie riots that are going around in the country, but this part of it is actually kind of funny, and technically it falls broadly under the header of bioterrorism, at least potentially, because Antifa was filling, I guess, little balloons with their shit and throwing it at the cops the other night. I guess maybe they ran out of Soros bucks and they're like, well shit, you know, we don't have enough money for explosives or tendies anymore. And, you know, my mom's bank account is dry through the end of the month, so I know, I've got an idea. I'm just trying to think of the mentality of people that think, number one, this is some sort of revolutionary exercise at this point. That there's meaning to it in the larger political sense. Number two, that it's good optics. That they're not going to get fucking mocked for it. I mean, the jokes write themselves, because you can say, like, Antifa's so full of shit that they had to dispose of it somehow. And that's indeed what they did. I'm also thinking to myself, like, how did they put the poop in the balloons? Because, I mean, from the pictures of it, I'm not going to post them there. From the looks of it, it was, like, kind of runny. Did they, like, make an Andy corn log and then, like, water it down in a blender or something and then pour it into the balloons? Like, it looks like they were fairly full, so did they, like, stretch the balloon over their asshole and poop in the balloon or something? And it's a little bit of a funny topic. But it's not funny legally. I mean, if they get caught, they could be brought up technically on terrorism charges. Do I think, unless they've got, like, you know, AIDS or something, I don't think it would be likely that that would happen. But possible. It's definitely a possibility. I think after, like, what is it, 80 or something days of nonstop foolery, at some point, wouldn't you think of something better to do instead of looking for new ways to make people scoff at you? And the number of new first-time gun owners in the United States is a point or two higher now than it was a few months ago. Specifically because of this crap, the number of guns and the amount of munition that's been bought by Americans over the last 2 months dwarfs the military capabilities of half the countries in the world. Antifa's not fighting to win a revolution. They don't have the capability. It's just not going to happen. The other night, I guess there was a video the other night that I saw, and initially it was being reported that it was a group of, like, Trump fans and Proud Boys and stuff sparring with Antifa, and now it looks like it might have been an Antifa false flag designed to make the right wing, again so-called in many cases, look violent, and that it was actually Antifa members fighting other Antifa members and just dressed up differently. I'm not sure if I've got any adequate confirmation of this. You can DM it to me on Twitter if you do, because that would definitely, that would take the cake. And it would have been totally botched, because, like, I mean, come on. And by the way, it was funny to see these groups, I guess, for hours and hours sitting there chanting the same fucking shit over and over, too. It's becoming pathetic, actually. The breadliners don't appear to understand the fact that, culturally speaking, they've lost. America has completely rejected them. Look, your defund the police goal was so laughably unpopular that the Democrats that initially sort of latched onto it, thinking it was a good idea, immediately backed away. Half the corporations that started backing BLM have backed away from them too because of this sort of activity, as well as their anti-Semitic march there that they had that one time. It was funny how that was the unique trigger for half of those companies, by the way, to pull their brands from BLM. Very interesting. They didn't care as long as these people were talking about bashing cops' skulls in. Once they started to talk about foreign diplomacy and foreign aid, it became a big problem. I'm loving it, though. What I'm loving about this is that at the end of the day, as I've pointed out, this amounts to a few thousand people at this point in a few dozen U.S. cities, looting and shooting and doing things, and then attendant to that, you've got some tens of thousands of additional people that are just looters. They're not politically motivated. They're just there for a smash and grab, really. This is mainly what we saw in Chicago. It was mostly looting. It wasn't mainly Antifa or BLM. It was mostly just people getting free shit. Hell, during a recession like this, you're out of work, hey, I gotta make ends meet. I don't know. I'm sure that there are people that otherwise would have been law-abiding that were in those groups of looters, by the way. Just saying that the lockdowns might not be helping the fucking situation. Pointed that out over a month ago. In fact, I think I pointed out two and a half months ago or something before much of the rioting actually began. That being said, it's becoming a farce, and I'm loving it because as these groups continue to do violent and crazy shit, as more storefronts get robbed, as they start throwing their shit and piss at people, which Antifa's done before, as Black Bloc shows up to fight the police, as BLM members sit there talking about people need to sell their homes to give them reparations. Like now they've started in Portland and Seattle, they're marching through the suburbs every night, shining lights in people's windows and threatening them and stuff. What a great fucking goddamn way to handle an election season. You see, the problem is the Democrats for the first month or so were largely not only tolerant of these groups, but actually applauding them. You've got people like AOC, they love this. Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, they're never going to disavow the violence that's going on. You've had something like 35, 40 people killed by far-left rioters over the last couple of months. What great optics for the American left. I wonder why Trump's approval started rising. I wonder why Biden lost 10 points in matchups over the last month. I can't think of a reason. I can't think of any possible fucking goddamn reason. By the way, with the corona thing, convalescent plasma just got deployed. It looks like that might be reasonably effective in most of the more severe cases. Hell, if that's the case, then coronavirus becomes even less of a problem for the Republicans, because supposedly Trump botched everything, although if you actually look at the death totals, you see a different situation. Antifa's so full of crap that they had to get rid of it somehow. You know, whose poop was it, by the way? It'd be funny if one of the cops actually had like a scat fetish or something like that, and they're like, I will be on the front lines tonight. It'd be funny. I don't think so. It seems more likely that the Antifa members are just like anally retentive, and so they're sort of into shit anyway. Communism is shit, so you know, it just sort of makes sense. They probably play with their poo all day anyway. They figured they wanted to do something useful with it other than make little crap statues all day. That's about all. Peace out.